بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ثم أما بعد. My dear brothers, I welcome you to this blessed gathering, and I'd like to remind myself first and foremost, and all of you, of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, whoever follows a path in search of knowledge, Allah will make easy for him a path to Jannah, and no group of people gather in one of the houses of Allah, reciting the book of Allah and studying it together, except that tranquility descends upon them, and that mercy envelops them, and that the angels surround them, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions them among those who are with him. What a great honor. Inshallah, today I will begin with going over very few of the etiquettes of seeking knowledge, inshallah. Since, Allahumma barik, this ISOC has put great efforts into facilitating lessons every day of the week, which we invite you to attend, inshallah. It is befitting that we remind ourselves of the etiquettes of seeking knowledge, inshallah. And the first point, which all of you should have done before you came here, which is to correct the intentions. I want you to think within yourselves right now, why did you show up today? Was it because this is an ISOC event and out of habit you just showed up? Was it because your friend was going and you thought, okay, if my friend is going, I want to go as well? Or was it because you wanted the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purely in coming here? So that's point number one, is to correct the intentions, and under that comes 4 points that I will go through, inshallah. Number one, in correcting the intentions, is that you seek this knowledge as a way to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is first and foremost. Do not think for a second that the purpose of studying Islam and seeking knowledge is to just increase in knowledge and that's it. Do not think that for a second. The first thing should be that you are studying because you want to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the first thing you think about when you come to these gatherings and these study circles, is that how am I going to use this to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number 2, inshallah, is to study and seek knowledge to uplift the ignorance from yourself, so that you may worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with knowledge. And this was covered in the Aqidah class, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Muhammad, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ. So know that there is no deity except Allah, and ask forgiveness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preceded seeking knowledge, فَاعْلَمْ, before the action, which means that knowledge has to be sought first before you can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because how are you going to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you don't know Him, or if you don't know how the Prophet told us to worship Him subhanahu wa ta'ala? And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Az-Zumar, say, are those who know equal to those who do not know? This comes under uplifting the ignorance from yourself. And the scholars have a statement regarding this, that a person is either a seeker of knowledge or he is content with ignorance. You're either a seeker of knowledge or you're content with ignorance. Which side do you want to be on? Ask yourself. If you're not seeking knowledge, then you fall into the other variety, which is that you're content with being ignorant. And number 3 of correcting the intentions is that you study and you seek knowledge in order to act by it. This is number 3. And Imam Ahmed has a very lovely statement regarding this. He says, I did not learn about a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ except that I acted by it. When you act by something, it sticks. صح ولا لا? it sticks so that يعني, you can do it again inshallah, and it doesn't just, as we say, enters the ear from this side and then leaves from this side, and it's as if you've never learned it. And then the fourth and final point is to study in order to share this knowledge among others and uplift the ignorance from others, i.e. doing da'wah. And very importantly regarding this point is that in order for you to do it correctly, you must apply wisdom and patience. You must have patience. How do you apply wisdom? It is by taking the scenario and the context into consideration. Is the person that you're sharing this knowledge to older than you or younger than you? Are they you have to take all of the factors into consideration and not just say the thing just bluntly and be done with it. And there is a story of Al-Hasan and Al-Hussein where they saw a man performing wudu incorrectly, and they could have just easily said, what are you doing? This is incorrect. But instead they made a little act of both of them, like they acted as if they're disputing on how correct wudu is done, and then they consulted the old man in order to indirectly teach him. You have to take these things into account. So 4 points, just to summarize quickly. We are seeking knowledge. Why? Because number one, we want to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, so that we uplift the ignorance from ourselves. Number three, so that we act by this knowledge that we're learning. And number four, so we can share it and uplift the ignorance from others. And very quickly, inshallah, there is a point about intentions with regards to seeking knowledge that I want to clarify, and it is related to the fear of showing off when it comes to seeking knowledge and studying Islam. The Prophet ﷺ was asked by some of the companions, look, this issue is nothing new. This has been happening from the time of the Prophet ﷺ. They asked the Prophet, they told him ﷺ, the person that finds in their nafs that some showing off has entered, what do they do? The Prophet very easily told them this quick and easy method that you should apply, which is to recite the following supplication: Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min an ushrika bika wa ana a'lam wa astaghfiruka lima la a'lam. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from associating anything with you knowingly, and I seek your forgiveness for what I do unknowingly. That's number one. Secondly, even among the greatest of scholars, even the great scholars, they've had issues with intentions when it comes to correcting it for, purely for the sake of Allah. For example, Mujahid says, we sought this knowledge without having with it a great intention in the beginning. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted us the right intention afterwards. What's the point of mentioning this? Is that you shouldn't stop yourself from seeking knowledge just because you think that my intention is not pure, or like my intention is not solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is all doubts and whispers from shaitan to stop you from seeking knowledge. Start seeking knowledge, learn as much as you can, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for ikhlas, and you will be granted ikhlas. Always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for ikhlas. Subhanallah. All of this we spoke about was just point number one of the etiquettes of seeking knowledge when it comes to the intentions, and it shows how important that point is. Very quickly, number two of the etiquettes of seeking knowledge is to appear in a good and dignified manner and to perform wudu so that you are in a state of purity as preparation to for listening for the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the words of the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam. Number three, to arrive early to the gathering in order to benefit fully, so that you listen from the beginning until the end. And number four is to listen attentively and not just hear the words. listen attentively, because how will the benefit of what is being said enter your heart if your heart is distracted? And fifth and finally, to bring a pen and paper so that you can note down what was learned in the lesson. And regarding this point, there's a very latif, as we say, like 2 lines of poetry that says, العلم صيد والكتابة قيده قيد صيودك بالحبال الواثقة فمن الحماقة أن تصيد غزالة وتتركها بين الخلائق طالقة. Those who understand Arabic hopefully got the beauty of these 2 lines. But and as a reminder, when you translate Arabic poetry into English, you lose 80% of the beauty in it. So Allah understand, 99, Allah understand. It says, the poem says, knowledge is a hunt, and writing is its tether. So bind your captures with strong and secure ropes, for it is foolish to hunt a gazelle, then leave it roaming free among the people. If you hear something that is beneficial, write it down, so that you don't forget it, and then later you can come back to it, inshallah. How much time do I have left?
We have all the time now.
Barakallahu feekum. So this was a supposed short introduction, like in the vast sea of the etiquettes of seeking knowledge. I thought it was befitting to share that, inshallah, for the benefit. And going on, today's topic, inshallah, I'll be speaking on the effects of sins as mentioned. And most of the content that I've prepared for this is based on a book by Imam Ibn al-Qayyim called Ad-Da' wad-Dawa'. And that book is غني عن التعريف. How do you translate that? It's something that is it's a book that is very widespread. And from the things that are said about this book is that it should be a companion for life. It is not one of those books that you read once and then you're done with it. No, you keep it with you, and every now and then you finish reading it cover to cover, because of the great benefits that are in this book. And I'll be mentioning some of the benefits in the chapters that talk about the effects of sins. And today, inshallah, it will be the effects of sins on the past nations. So just reading the translation of that section, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim says, it is necessary to know that sins and acts of disobedience inevitably bring harm, and that harm to the heart is like poison to the body. And this principle is like this principle summarizes the whole book of Ad-Da' wad-Dawa', that the origin of all harm is from sins. And this is something that should be written with gold, as they say. It is a principle that all of us must understand, that all harm and all evil in this life and the next originates from sins. And then Ibn Qayyim says, rahimahullah, is there any evil or disease in this world and the hereafter except that its cause is sins and disobedience? What was it that expelled our 2 parents, Adam and Hawa, from paradise, the abode of delight, blessing and happiness, to the abode of pain, sorrow and tribulation? And what was it that expelled Iblis from the kingdom of the heavens and cast him away and cursed him? And what was it that drowned all the people of the earth so that the water rose above the tops of the mountains? And what was it that sent the violent wind upon the people of Ad until it destroyed them as though they were hollow trunks of palm trees? And what was it that sent the thunderous cry upon the people of Thamud? And what was it that lifted up the towns of Lut until the angels heard the barking of their dogs and then turned them upside down and rained stones upon them? And what was it that sent the clouds of torment like shadows upon the people of Shu'aib, so that when it loomed above them it rained down fire? And what was it that drowned Fir'aun and his people in the sea, then cast their souls into hell, subhanallah, so that their bodies are swallowed by water and their souls are swallowed by fire. What was it? All of it was the cause of it was from sins, from their sins and disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how the sins of the past nations affected them. Allah musta'an. And even in the Quran you'll find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-A'raf, and if only the people of the cities had believed and feared Allah, we would have opened upon them blessings from the heaven and the earth, but they denied, so we seized them for what they were earning. Allah musta'an. And in Surah Al-Ma'idah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and if only they had upheld the law of the Torah and the Injil and what was revealed to them from their Lord, they would have consumed provision from above them and beneath their feet. All of this, subhanallah, is the effect of sins. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us in these two ayat, if only they obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they wouldn't have been struck with the punishment. And even in the hadith, you will find that the Prophet ﷺ says, indeed, a person is deprived of the provision because of a sin that he commits. And with regards to this hadith, the sanad of it, the authenticity of it, is a matter of discussion between scholars. But scholars say that the meaning is correct, inshaAllah. Subhanallah, because of the sins of a person, they are deprived of provisions. And also you are all aware of the story of the woman who captured a cat and didn't let it eat from the hasha'ish al-ard, like the food of the earth, the grass, and subhanallah, she was sent to hellfire because of that sin. And from what the scholars say, some of them say we see the effects of our sins in the attitude of our camels and the moods of our wives. To this extent, subhanallah. Yani look at the effect of the sin. And Ibn al-Qayyim mentions a very important misconception that people might miss, and that they fall in sin, and because they don't see the effect of that sin immediately, they think that this sin has no effect. Subhanallah. And I'll end with this, inshaAllah. The scholars say, do not make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the least of those who look at you. لا تجعلوا الله أهون الناظرين إليكم. If you are committing a sin, you wouldn't want anybody to be looking at you. And if someone catches you in that state, in the state of committing a sin, imagine how embarrassed you would feel. Imagine the embarrassment, the shame that someone would feel just because one of the creation saw them committing that sin. And now imagine, you don't have to imagine, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees everything and sees all of us. And Allah musta'an, we don't feel the same shame from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we feel from the creation. And inshallah I will end here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك استغفرك واتوب إليك. Inshallah there's a fiqh class that is gonna start now, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. جزاكم الله.